I'd like to take you back to March 22nd, 2024. Why? Well, here's why. It was a landmark day in the world of video game journalism as Kotaku editor-in-chief resigned over the new editorial edict of, hey, man, it's time to do some guides. You're just not cutting it from an editorial perspective. It's done. You're over. So the EIC said, nope, not doing it. Can't do it. I have integrity. And they left. Well, it was all about creating guides along the way. So they said, okay, well, if you're going to leave, we'll go out and find somebody else. Now, if you recall, I actually went out and tried to apply to be the editor-in-chief of Kotaku. But alas, my pronouns and my ethnicity did not do enough. Because, hey, I know they weren't going to hire anybody with 18 years of experience building multiple companies in the media landscape online to do their job. Why would they do that? Why would they do that? Instead, they hired Austin Williams. So here's Austin Williams. Good for him, right? He is currently protected over on X, but that's neither here nor there. This video isn't about Austin Williams. It's about the edict of going to guides. Well, fast forward over the last 6-7 months or so. Was it 8 months, 9 months, 8 months since then? And they were actually given a chance to continue. They fought their little hearts out, those little bloggers over there at Kotaku, and said, no, give us one more chance. So they did. So the folks over at Geo Media who own Kotaku were like, okay, give it a go. See what you got. We got 6 months, which I imagine how it went. So here we are 6 months or so later. And guess what? All the election money is gone, leading us up to today, where guess what, friends? We have some departures from Kotaku, as there have been layoffs across the board, and one noticeable, definitely not layoff. Definitely not. As Grums reports, layoffs at Kotaku, Alyssa Mercante is gone. Now, she posted this out. I had a video about this earlier today where we actually reacted to this live on our show. Once again, we encourage you guys to come join us Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time, where we're talking about all this fun stuff. We do this 5 days a week live. We'd love for you guys. We got like 3,000 people tuning in. It's great stuff, man. Great community of normal men. So we talked about this there, and we actually reacted to it in real time. Long and short, she's like, hey, it's not my fault. I left before the layoffs. That's just conveniently just on a random Thursday before they laid everybody off. She wants you to know that she definitely resigned. It was definitely not her getting canned. Definitely not. Anyways, but there were some other people who got fired too. But first, the response here along. This person works for like TechCrunch over here. And look, I'm not one to generalize, but she looks exactly like you'd expect from somebody who works at TechCrunch. Kotaku doing layoffs this week is actually evil. Well, why is that? Because it's the worst week of your life? Because the election didn't go the way you wanted it to go, Amanda Silbergerling? Is that why? Is it the worst day ever? Of course it is. Kotaku and Gawker Management in general have been scum for so long, in my opinion. This one's maybe funniest of all. I'm sorry, you folks were doing good work. Were they doing good work? Were they doing good work? Or were they, I don't know, making much to do about nothing? So here we go. Once again, we all remember this rant along the way. She was on the Giant Bomb, who, once again, Giant Bomb, it should go away as well. But Giant Bomb in their echo chamber of Access journalist had Alyssa Mercante on. And I actually can't play the first 17 seconds of this because I would get flagged on YouTube for saying the see you next Tuesday word. But after she called everybody that, she went out and remember, she actually threatened to fight people.
The games industry is diverse naturally. Not because anyone's making them be diverse. Because the world is diverse, you stupid motherfucker.
Ooh, burn! This guy back here looking like he's practicing for his night job.
And if you have a problem with that, come fight me. Physically. Bitch.
Okay.
Taking you up on that yet?
No, because they're all pussies.
Yeah, that's right, except for Rivera, who took you up on it, and then you conveniently said, well, not on my terms, blah, blah, blah. Well, listen, what, Alyssa, here nor there. But there was more casualties today, who were people who were actually fired from Kotaku, including Willow Rowe. Says, hey, I was just laid off from Kotaku, don't know what's next for me. Well, Willow Rowe should have plenty of Willow Rowe is a queer games critic from New York. By the way, more important than being a games critic is a queer games critic. By the way, outside of like games like Dragon Age Veilguard, can you please point to games that are just labeled queer? Or are you a video game critic who is queer? You would think that just being a journalist, you'd want to make sure that you are very specific with the words that you use and the order that you use them, because there's a big difference between being a queer games critic and a queer games critic. Just throwing it out there, Willow Rowe. Anyways, I'm sure you'll have plenty of opportunities because, you can read her work at Inverse or listen to her podcast called Girl Mode. Also let go, unfortunately, today was Moses Taveras. Says, laughed my ass off. I slept in and woke up to the news that I've been laid off from Kotaku. Well, you probably shouldn't have been laid off. You probably shouldn't have slept in. Just maybe you were late for work. Maybe that's why you got fired. But you may recognize Moises here from his most recent work, which will be his final contribution as angry at the world right now. Play Wolfenstein. Well, why would you want to do this, Moises Taveras? In case you want to dismantle fascists from the safety of your own home. Now, this is from his Muckrack page. I don't even know what that is. Says, hey, everything sucks right now. Well, it's going to suck a whole lot more now that you don't have a job there being a video game blogger. There's no getting around it. And we're going to have to live with the consequences of this shit for the rest of our lives. So if you're feeling angry about things like, say, the rise of fascism in America, why not play the Wolfenstein games and kill some Nazis? I need a break from all this. Well, you got your break there, Moises. You sure did. I need to entertain the notion that I have some power. Well, Moises, sorry about that, Big Daddy. Looks like you truly are out of it, buddy. And you are both out of a job and out of power, which is wildly unfortunate for you. I'm sorry about that. But with that said, there is one person who's been pointing to this pretty consistently over the last 6-8 months as all this has been trickling down, and that is Neon. Neon is the boss over at Clownfish TV. He runs that with Geeky Sparkles, and he called this, man. He's been calling this for a while. He says, man, called it. The election ad spend is done. So now the election is done. Remember all those millions and millions of dollars that the Democrats and Republicans put into influencers and such along the way? That is a lot of money that gets flushed into these media outlets, and it's all gone now. Do you think it's a surprise that 2 days after the election, after all this money is gone, that they would just fire everybody? No, of course not. And Neon yells it right here. Called it. The election ad spend is done, so expect these sites to get dumped soon. Google turned off almost all the election niche sites this year. Bingo. Grum says, wonder who's next. Almost all of them. So here's the question I have for you with this. Now, obviously, look, I want to be very clear. I am not, and I repeat, not happy about anybody losing their job. But it is fun to see Kotaku kind of withering down and eventually shutting its doors, or at least moving strictly over to guides, which I think, honestly, would be a very smart move for them. Low turnover, low workload. You can use AI to write a lot of them. It makes sense. They have an SEO presence already. But the big question I have for you there, normal man, is who's next? Not at Kotaku, but in the blogosphere of websites. We've seen sites like Game Informer shut down, magazines shut down over the last year. And now that the ad spend is all gone, which one's going to go? Is it truly going to be all of them? Is this going to be like we've seen people laid off? We had 13,000 people plus laid off in the video game industry after all the bloat. And to be honest, there are hundreds, potentially hundreds of thousands could lose their job more. And I think the video game industry would be fine. And I do mean like 100,000 people. Like there's so many people in the video game industry, you don't even understand how many people work in it. And I honestly feel like 80% of the industry could probably lose their job and everything would be fine. Very Elon Musk it. But that's like a big question I have for you guys. What's next? Who's next? And do you take joy out of seeing this? Because, like I said, I don't like to see people lose their jobs, but at the same time, I do like to giggle about it occasionally. Look, I got more videos for you right here. I got more. I got a channel for you to subscribe to right here. Join the 106,000 normal men and come join us Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time. Don't forget, head over to therealgameawards.com and become a voting member. All categories are available for you to put your nominations in. Right now, we're going to start voting in December. Can't wait for that. Use promo code SIDESCROLLERS and get $5 off your annual membership, only $25 a year.